Hi, welcome. I'm Sherry. Welcome. Welcome to Sherry's Simple Summaries. And tonight I'll be summarizing Chapter 2 of the book Guinea Pigs by Dr. John Hall. And Chapter 2 is titled MKULTRA, which is stands for mind control. I know your time is valuable, and so is the information in this chapter, so I'll get to it, and I invite you to stay to listen to summary, Chapter 2, titled Mind Control, in the book called Guinea Pigs by Dr. John Hall. This will take 30 minutes or less, so stick with me, and we will get through this. Thanks for stopping. All right, in my videos, I'm going to show some visual cues that will help. I think it helps you. Otherwise, you're just watching me talk, and you need visual cues. So here we go. And I apologize for rambling. Let's get to it. All right. Here's what we're covering. All right. That's Sherry's Simple Summaries, Chapter 2, titled MKULTRA. Guinea Pigs, a book by Dr. John Hall. You can try to check out that book from your local library. They will order a fresh copy if needed. And if you get it on Kindle, it's $7.99, or you can order a hard copy through Amazon for about $10 to $20 if you're interested. But first, let's hear the summary to see if you're actually interested in it or not. Just want to put this up here. Free, get your free info, extra, read all about it, free info. It's free, it's information. You need it. You might not know you need it, but you need it. So join me, shall we? Will ya? All right. So let's see. In this book, I'm going to show you the cover so you get an idea. Okay, here's the cover. So you can kind of envision yourself, reading it, maybe with a cup of coffee or whatnot. It takes about 4 hours. It's a really simple, easy read, even though it's explaining things like medical and technology. He does a wonderful job of making it simple and easy. About 4 hours, that's all together. That doesn't mean you have to sit down for 4 hours at one time if you don't have that, but you can probably get through it depending on how quick you read and how much time you want to invest in it. I digress. All right. In this book, Guinea Pigs, he explains how human guinea pigs are used for non-consensual testing in things like training, research, and development for things like satellite-based technology, particularly mind control technology. We all have a mind, so this pertains to you. Free, good info. I guess the theme would be, excuse me, this pimple here, but I guess the theme in mind control is you don't have to control the body if you can control the mind, because the mind controls the body. I'll explain how later. But anyways, the author, Dr. John Hall, is a medical doctor, and he's done tons of research on this subject matter, so he knows his stuff. It's a simple, easy to read book, about 4 hours all together. So. All right, let's see. In Chapter 1 that I already summarized, we talked about how human guinea pigs has been something that's been in practice for a long time. It started since the dawn of time, but World War II is where we'll start with. POWs, prisoners of war, were used as human guinea pigs. It was all types of people, men, women, children, so not just men, not just women, all across the board. And they were experimented on for their minds and their bodies, intensive research experimentation, non-consensual guinea pigs. All right. So that practice continued here in the United States under Operation Paperclip. And there was specifically a mind control program created, originally called, let me just show you a picture here if you don't mind. This is a picture of a human guinea pig. The artist's interpretation, you understand, this illustrates our point. Human guinea pigs in a cage, in a hospital gown with a water bottle. Okay, just the idea, so you know what we're talking about. And it's non-consensual. non-consensual guinea pig, human guinea pig. So back in after World War II, the Operation Paperclip started, and a mind control program started up called MKULTRA. All right. So get familiar with that terminology. The MK stands for mind control. It's K because it's for the German K, because the research started in Germany during the World War II. So that's the only reason. But don't be so hard on the Germans. It could have been anybody. In this particular case, it was them, but I digress. MKULTRA, mind control. K for the German K. That was the official name of the program. That was in chapter 1. So just so you're familiar with that, the program allegedly continues, even though it was supposed to be shut down. It's allegedly continued, and it's rumored to be named Project Monarch for many reasons. In mind control, the idea is that the person will transform from a caterpillar into a beautiful butterfly and have a wonderful life, etc., etc. Being a mind control slave is the key point. So you will what is that word? Transform into a beautiful monarch after being traumatized by a mind control program. That's where that comes from. So Project Monarch. All right. So that was chapter 1. Okay. The goal of using guinea pigs has and always will be turning people into mind control slaves. Our goal is to not become a mind control slave, right? Ideally, I don't think anybody wants to be a mind control slave. Anybody out there? No, right? The answer would be no. Our free will, we value it very much. Okay? So that was chapter 1. We're done with that. We're moving on. The bus is going. As my teacher in high school said, the bus is leaving. If you're not on it, you're getting left. So let's move on to chapter 2. This is the summary of it. 30 minutes or less. So I might have to do a couple videos, but you understand. All right. So the key points in chapter 2, I'll just show you. Visuals are very important, because otherwise you're just listening to me talk, and that can be hard to follow. I know I've watched enough YouTubes to understand that. It doesn't hurt to get out a pen and a paper too, if you find it interesting. It is about mind control, and you do have a mind, and you don't want to be a mind control slave. So this information might be important. Okay, I'll show you anyhow. This is going to be the key points that we're going to be covering. There are three of them. I try to break things down in threes. Not sure why, but that seems to be like a learning tool. When I was in school, they did that too. There was a 3-part process on how you can remember when you read things. I can go over that one time. Actually, I will. It's really interesting. It helps. It truly does. But okay, for tonight, for chapter 2 on mind control, we are going to talk about the history of mind control, mind control slaves, and the technology used to make mind control slaves, because there is a technology used in that. All right. Again, 3 points. History of mind control, the program, MKULTRA, the mind control slaves, and the technology used in making mind control slaves. All right. One of the ways that they do mind control is obviously because the mind is housed in the brain. So I want to show you a picture of the brain. Okay, in all its glory. Wonderful. Okay, we all have one. And if you noticed, this is kind of broken up into different sections of the brain that control different functions of the mind and the body. So you have your temporal lobes, which is easy to remember because they're by your temples on each side. That's a lobe. You have the occipital lobe, which is in the back. Have the parietal lobes. What's this? Yeah, and then you have the parietal lobes, which are kind of towards the top. So when they section the brain out, in anatomy, that's how they do it. So this thing, anyways, this brain in all its glory is what they seek to control. What do they want to control it for? Maybe to turn you into a mind control slave. Like this guy. Tell me if you recognize this. Yeah, see, I got it in color this time. You got Jason Bourne in all his glory. We talked about how born is a play on the word born, as in being born. He's born into a new identity, because when you go through mind control programming to turn you into a mind control slave, you are being reborn into your new identity of the mind control slave. The born process, as you've seen in the movie, is very, it's 3 parts to turn somebody into a mind control slave. I'm gonna tell you what those 3 parts are, okay? Let me just pull up my notes here again. Bear with me. You guys are doing wonderful as we talk about such serious subject matter. Okay, so you've seen a picture of Jason Bourne. That would be an example, just once again, he would be an example of a Manchurian candidate, super soldier type of mind control slave. So you see somebody controlling his mind would want him to be a super soldier and, you know, killing machine. There are other kinds of mind control slaves. There are beta sex kitten slaves, which are usually women, but can be males as well. It can be males as well, and they're made to do illicit sexual activities for different, whatever their program is training them for. So that's one option. Another version of a mind control slave would be something like a lower level would be like a drug courier, or a higher level where the person is made to have mind control, turn into a slave, and do things against their better judgment or free will. Okay, here's another example of a mind control slave. Not him. That's who we want to be like. Those are all in the back. You see those? Those are all mind control slaves. Yeah, you see them. You see them. Zombies. You don't want to be a zombie mind control slave, because that's what it turns you into. It means you no longer do your own free will. You do the bidding of another. Who is that? I don't know, but that's not good. All right, so that was a little bit about the history of MKUltra, started in World War II, now called Project. I'll let you remember it. I'm not going to tell you. It was MKUltra. It is now called. All right, and we talked about the MK slaves, what they are, Manchurian candidates, sex kittens, couriers, etc., etc. There's a lot of different kinds. Now we're going to talk about the technology used in mind control. So, just to show you, again, where the technology focuses on, this is what they are after, people. This brain, this wonderful thing that makes us us. We all have our personalities, our dreams, our hopes, our desires, what makes us laugh, what makes us cry, our memories. They're all housed here. This is where it happens, okay? People, a lot of time in popular literature and songs and whatnot, you hear people talking about hearts, you know, my achy breaky heart, my heart this, my heart that, you know, the desires of the hearts, the wishes of, you know, and that's all the figurative heart, it plays effect. But it technically, this is where the action is at, the big, beautiful brain, okay? And these things are selling on the black market like hot cakes. I'll explain to you later. You don't want yours sold. You don't want to be a guinea pig and have them playing with your brain. You just don't. All right. And another thing, too, I wanted to point out, this is your organic brain, right? This is the actual organ, the living, breathing organ of the brain that can, you know, bleed or, you know, be, you know, this is what you see when, you know, somebody would do an autopsy. Okay, that's one version. When we think of the brain, we tend to think of this, and that's true. That's the organ. But like a car, there's inner workings of the organ. Okay, so, and that's where the technology for mind control comes into play. I want to show you another picture. This is also a brain, the brain, right? And there's activity going on in there. The activity this is how your brain looks when you're thinking thoughts. Okay, this artist representation is of a thinking brain. Okay, it's not just a hamster running in a wheel up there. Right? It's electrical activity and chemical. The brain is chemical, electrical. You know, so if you do drugs or drink, even have a drink, that affects your brain chemistry because there's chemicals up there. Dopamine, serotonin, that makes you tired. Different chemicals, and it's also electrical. Just a FYI. All right. This picture right here is of a dendrite. This is inside the brain on the microscopic level. This is the network of your brain when it's passing messages, when it's communicating, when it's thinking. Everything you think has to pass through a network like this. Everything. Little thoughts, big thoughts, what you're going to have for dinner, what, do you want pickles on your sandwich, what errands do you have to run, etc., etc. Oh, that big math equation, the vacation you want to plan, all that, is worked out in the network of your neurons, okay? This is all brain on the microscopic level. I just wanted you to grasp that the brain is an organ, yes, first and foremost, but it's so much more than that. It is us, right? Our brains are us. So mind control is not a good thing, right? Because who should control our brains? Us, right? That's what I think. Okay, I told you I was going to give you the recipe for making a mind control slave. So here it is. It's a 3-part recipe. And just like other recipes, you can add a few ingredients, take a few out, but you need some basic ingredients. Otherwise, you won't get the final product. These are the three basic ingredients to make a mind control slave, and it can be done. All right. First one. See this little recipe card here, but this is not a good recipe. This is a dangerous recipe. This is a recipe that can turn you into somebody you is not you, right? Okay, so the first one, psychological trauma-based conditioning. Trauma is anything that hurts your mind or your body or your soul. So sexual trauma, assaults, rapes, verbal abuse, physical abuse, basically hurting someone causes trauma, which they use as a conditioning when they're creating a mind control slave. If you read stories of survivors, they'll tell you about it. Very interesting. But yes, that's a key ingredient. You have to have that. You can't have a mind control slave if you don't use that. Okay? So far, that's how it's been done. That helps. Okay, number 2 thing you need is ritual abuse and or satanic ritual abuse, which is torture. That's things like sensory deprivation and, well, there's a whole gamut of things. We won't get into them for this purpose, but we can cover that at another time if it's beneficial. Okay, but torture of all types. So, okay, then number 3, the third thing that you need if you're making a mind control slave for this wonderful recipe is technology. Yes, you need the power of the sciences. In particular, you need to be able to manipulate EMFs. This is an important word. I'm going to bring this up a lot, so I want you guys to get really familiar with this. We're at 20 minutes about, so 10 minutes more. We're going to have to break this video up, or it might go longer. Not too much longer. But anyways, we're talking interesting. This is mind control. All right, so EMFs stands for electrical magnetic frequencies, because again, the brain works on an electrical level and gives off frequencies every time it thinks a thought. All those little thoughts that go through your head, again, pickles on the sandwich, what's my to-do list, vacation next year, everything, even when you're sleeping, those are thoughts of sorts, right? So, and each time you think a thought, that translates into a frequency that can be read. That's called the EMF. Let me just adjust my screen here. All right, EMF. Just remember that word, please. It's very important. So yeah, if you manipulate EMFs in the brain, you can influence and override the natural brain's free will. Okay, I'll explain how. But technology, EMFs, manipulating them, because every thought and emotion is an EMF, electromagnetic frequency. Because remember, the brain is an organ, but the brain is also electrical, chemical on a microscopic level. Okay, just like a car is a car, but it has, you know, computer parts in there, and it has, you know, the innards of it that make it work. Oil and fluids and, you know, cords and tubes and tanks and things of that nature. You understand it. There's levels to this. Levels. I just want to show you for emphasis before we move on, because now we're going to focus strictly on the technology of mind control. This is what is the big thing that is used. EMF, my favorite word for 2018, electromagnetic frequency, because I'm going to keep this one out, matter of fact, because it's so important, okay? Excuse me while I shuffle through papers here. This is important because, okay, EMF, every thought, which I just explained, and we're just going to, for emphasis, go over it again. Every thought ever thought by anybody, every thought, even a little one, you don't think it's that important? Okay, it might not be, but no matter, it produces an electromagnetic frequency. No matter what. That's just how the brain works. And those frequencies can be read out by an EEG, which we'll get into later, but an EEG is a machine that reads brainwaves. It stands for electrical encephalogram. Gram for measure, electric because the brain is chemical electrical, and encephalo because that's the word when you're describing head or brain. Encephalo. Okay, so hold that thought. EMFs. Okay, now the brain with EMF technology is well, what we just explained. The brain, I'll summarize it. The brain can be enslaved by using EMF, electromagnetic frequency technology, because it's used to manipulate the thoughts and emotions in human brains. That is because every thought and emotion is read out, is an actual frequency wave, electromagnetic frequency. Okay, I'm going to leave that one out too, because this is very important. This is the crux of really what we're getting at. I want to show you this. It's a little equation, okay? Thoughts plus emotions equal behaviors, observable behaviors, okay? So to give you an example, to illustrate, if I think or I'm feeling happy. If I'm feeling happy, then I will sing. Okay, so singing would be the observable behavior. That's how that works. You get it? But before the behavior, the thought, it's formed in the mind. Same thing with thoughts, right? You think to yourself, I have interesting information. I want to share it. Okay, then the observable behavior after that thought is, I'm going to make a video. That would be the behavior that you would see, right? But before this behavior came the thought, right? First the thought equals the behavior. Same thing with the emotion. I feel, let me show you something about emotions real quick. I have a little chart. Well, I thought I had a little chart. I did print it up. I don't know where it's at. Maybe I left it up. Hold on. Pause. Well, anyways, I had a chart on the human emotions, but they're pretty simple. There's like 3 major ones. There's the 3 again. There's mad, sad, glad. And there's many emotions that spin off of those major 3, but the major 3 are those, mad, sad, or glad. Those are emotions. Okay, the basics of them. So if you have an emotion of happiness, like I was saying, you feel happy, then you sing, and then you'd be able to see the effect of that emotion in an observable behavior. And again, to tie this in, each thought, thank you guys for being patient. This is important. Every thought and emotion is an EMF, electromagnetic frequency. Every thought, every emotion is an electromagnetic frequency on the microscopic level in the brain. Those EMFs of thoughts and emotions can be read out by an EEG. That's another word. Please learn it. Just those two. EMFs, EEGs. EEGs read EMFs. EEG stands for, again, electrical encephalogram. Okay. I know you're smart, so I'm not gonna say it again. That's how the brain uses EMFs. All right. Another way the body uses EMFs. We're definitely going over 30 minutes. That's okay. We won't go over much longer. Okay. The body, though, I want to tie this in. The body uses EMFs to move each body part. Okay, I'll give you an example. I'm standing here, okay? I want to move my arm in an upward motion. Okay, you see it? That's so quick, right? That's not just happening by itself. First I think of it, then my brain sends the signal all the way down throughout my muscles, through my tendons, through the nerve endings, and boom, in split-second time it happens, right? I want to snap my finger. Poof, did it. But the brain had to send the signal first, right? That's why in things like strokes, when people's area of the brain is damaged, it can't send the signal to the body part, right? So you've seen that with people who have strokes, they can't move one part of their body. That's because, the area of the brain is affected and the signal can't go through. Okay, it's all about signals. Electromagnetic frequencies. Frequencies can also be interchangeable with the word signals. Also waves. So frequencies, waves, signals, interchangeable terminology for EMFs. I like EMFs, and I think we need to have a standard because this is important information. So I will use the word EMFs. So when you're listening, that's what we're speaking of. But remember that EMFs are also, waves and or signals. They can be referred to. So in things like maybe when soldiers lose a limb, over, doing in war. So they get a prosthetic limb, leg or arm, and they can get a chip implanted. It allows that chip will send the signal from their brain to that prosthetic limb to make it move, right? Okay, that's off that same technology again, EMF. That's frequencies. That's a signal. That's the brain sending the signal to the body, either the original body or the prosthetic limb that's synced with the prosthetic, with the mind. Okay, so the brain, they call that a brain-computer interface, BCI. Okay, and that's used a lot of times in prosthetic limbs and whatnot. And we use it every day. When you move, that's your brain signaling via EMFs to your body to move. We're done with that. You get it. So EMFs work the brain and they work the body. Very important. You need your brain. You need your body. Okay. One last part here is I want to explain. There's also EMFs in the environment all around us. Okay. Like right now, we are doing a broadcast on the Wi-Fi. That Wi-Fi is an EMF, electromagnetic frequency. We call it Wi-Fi, we call it a signal, we call it a broadcast, but it's a frequency. It works the same way. Okay, electromagnetic frequency. Some other examples of electromagnetic frequencies would be in things like radio, TV, right? The actual TV box, the appliance, you know, has to be plugged in, and that electricity runs the appliance, turns it on. But to get the actual programming, the show, you know, the broadcast, that the EMF has to send in, right? So picture doot, doot, doot. You like my sound effects, but you get it, right? Like the signals would look like this. That's what they always show it on the computer. It looks like it's like fanning or something. So that's how things are run. Many devices, radio, TV, Wi-Fi, even your microwave, even our microwave ovens, you know, those wonderful things you can make popcorn with, or, you know, you get home from work, you don't feel like cooking a whole meal, you're tired or whatever. You pop one of those things in there, you hit the button, and in 10 minutes, it's like piping hot. How is that? How is that done? Coincidence? Magic? No. EMFs. It's done with EMFs. And it says it right in the name, right? Because frequencies are the same as waves. So microwave. Micro in medical terminology is small. So they're smaller waves than compared to, I don't know, other waves that are bigger. So microwaves. It says it right in the name. Yeah, so that's, I just wanted to point that out. I want to show you a little picture example. All right. EMFs in the environment. There you have a microwave oven, you have a TV, you have a cell phone, you have an X-ray, what else are they in? Infrared rays, lights, all that. So there's your little visual. All right. The point being, again, one more time for emphasis, EMFs are in, they help to, they operate the brain, the body, and they're in the environment. Very important. Very, very important. I would like to take a moment to quote someone who knew a lot about EMFs. I think you'll recognize this name. If not, he definitely is a pioneer and had a lot to say about frequencies. All right. Name is Tesla. And his quote, I'll quote it for you and then I'll show you. He said, "If you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration." Frequency. Frequency can also be called direct energy. It's a form of energy, like solar, like electricity, like heat, but frequency. So the body operates, we talked about that, the body actually operates on frequencies. Each organ in the body, you know, all your organs, your heart, your kidneys, your liver, those all have a set frequency that they vibrate on. If they're not on that frequency, then you don't have optimal health, because that's the way we're made. We are not just, let me show you a picture just to emphasize that point. But yeah, again, I'll just show you what Tesla quoted. Okay. Let's let that sink in, because I know, and I took you know, science classes at school for my degree, my 2-year degree. But still, you have to take a lot of science. You have to take anatomy and physiology, part 1, part 2. They get really into depth about, you know, the whole body. You cover, it's all in each unit, you know. But rarely did we cover the frequency part of the human body. So I want to show you a picture of the human body in 3 different forms. And this middle one, if you notice, is the one we probably most often think of when we think of our human bodies, right? The skeleton, you know, that's what you see in this picture, and, you know, with flesh and bones. That's what we think in terms of this, okay? And then on this side, where my finger is, you'll see the chemical electrical part of the human body. That's, we think of that sometimes too, that's how medication works. Like we were talking about too, drugs and alcohol, they operate on your chemical level. So this is like the nervous system and how it all branches out. It has to reach every part of the body, right? Because the brain has to send the signal to the nervous system to make the muscles and the tendons move for body movement, right? We all need to move. We can't just sit still, you know? Ideally, we don't like to do that. So I think in these two terms of the flesh and bone and the chemical electrical. Now, rarely though, and this is important, and as we're moving forward in the stream of time, we need to be able to generally understand that the body also runs on frequencies. Okay, this guy right here, guy. This one right here. The body operates at a certain frequencies. The brain thinks, thoughts, and emotions. Us, our personality, is communicated by frequencies, right? The environment, how we're watching this video, how we listen to music on the radio, how we watch TV, that runs on frequencies. The complete name for frequencies again is EMFs. Electrical magnetic frequencies, and the Earth has its natural force field. The Earth has electromagnetic field surrounding it, which is why, well, we'll cover that in a future video. But basically, that's how, if someone wanted to send you a signal to your brain, to your frequency, they could harness the Earth's natural electromagnetic field with satellite-based technology. What does that mean? Okay, well, you understand EMFs. Want to go back again? So you understand the brain, the body, and the environment are operating on EMFs. Just for emphasis, and this is the last time I'm going to say this. I hope you get it at this point. If not, back to the lab. Just kidding. But here, it's simple. EMFs. I wrote it out so it's even, for emphasis and so you can get a visual cue. EMF, electromagnetic frequency, runs the brain, the body, and our environment. Now remember, with the mind, what makes the mind? Thoughts and emotions, right? You think things, you feel things. We think, we feel. We're humans, right? Every thought and emotion that you ever think or feel, anybody else, doesn't matter, could be a smart person like Tesla, or a renowned physicist, or a professor at school, at a university. It could be your parents, your relatives, your friends. It doesn't matter, whoever they are. Whenever we think thoughts and have emotions, they work off of EMFs, electromagnetic frequencies. Every thought, every time. And we're humans. I don't know about you, but I know there is a lot of thoughts running in my head at any given moment. It's okay, right? I mean, we're all different, but we're always thinking. We're humans. And then, so here's the second part to that. Our thoughts and emotions. So we're running around, we're thinking, we're feeling, right? And then when we act upon those thoughts and emotions, we act our behaviors is the manifestation of those thoughts and emotions. Okay, so what we think and what we feel dictates our behavior, our observable behavior. So I'll use an example again. I feel happy, so I sing. Singing would be the behavior. Okay, a thought. I feel like I could share some information. That's the thought, right? I'm thinking, oh, idea. That's the thought. Then the behavior, observable, would be I'm going to make a video to help others. That's the behavior. You're putting it together. So if every thought and every emotion is electromagnetic frequency, and if thoughts and emotions dictate behavior, then that means that if you can manipulate the frequency, then you can affect directly the behavior. Behavioral modification, think of it. Behavioral modification, you're modifying somebody's behavior, is the same thing, interchangeable again, with mind control. Right? If you're getting a signal that's telling you a different emotion or thought than you actually thought of yourself, that's controlling your mind, and then which then controls your behavior. If you're, I'm going to let you think about that. I explained it very well. I led you to the water. I can't make you drink it. But for you smarties out there who, you know, for you people, you get it. It's simple, right? Thoughts, emotions, EMFs. If EMFs can be manipulated, then your thoughts and emotions, and thus your behaviors, can also be influenced and manipulated. Almost done here. I wanted to show you this picture. This is the human brain, artist interpretation, and how it gives off a broadcast, right? Why would it do that? Because of all those EMFs swimming around, and there are all those thoughts and emotions. You know, it's not a hamster and they're turning a wheel. No, it's it's electromagnetic activity that gives out frequencies, boom, boom, and which also can receive signals, electromagnetic frequencies from the environment, from a computer. All right. So that's how the technology works for mind control. So the brain in all its glory. I just want to check my notes here. Bear with me. Think good thoughts. Okay. You're wanting to know, okay, all this is possible. Mind control slaves, using technology to do it. The history of, you know, this program, MKULTRA, which is now Project rumored to be Project Monarch. Why would somebody want to control our minds? Why? I don't know, but I do know that based on the history of MKUltra, that they did things like using people for, as the book states, the title of the book, guinea pigs. And we're not talking animals, we're talking human guinea pigs. Why ask why? Just know that it happens, please. Well, actually, I take that back. I do have one sort of answer. This right here is much of the reason that guinea pigs are used. Okay, that's training, research, and development for technology. They're doing training and research on mind control technology. Well, who is going to be used? You can only use dogs and monkeys and rats to a certain extent. You want to know the human brain, and it's so much more interesting. Animals are wonderful, but you know, us humans, we're the cream of the crop, right? We got so many thoughts going on, and it'd be interesting. And they don't want to control dogs or monkeys or rats to a certain extent. You want to control humans. So what have you learned from this chapter? EMF, the brain operates on EMFs. EMFs, electromagnetic frequencies, is a technology. I like to show this picture because it just makes me feel good. It just shows, like, I don't know if you guys can get the full effect of it, but it's representing, I believe, electromagnetic activity in the brain. So basically all thoughts, you know, think of throughout the day or even 5 minutes, like how many thoughts and emotions course through your neural network in your brain. It's amazing. Aren't we wondrously made? We are, you know, because we're made in the image of our Creator. So, you're awesome. I don't say that with an ego. I mean it like we are awesome. We are made to be awesome, and we have an amazing capacity to love. You know, don't forget that. Maybe some people focus more on the awesome, less on the love. We're both, right? Balance. Okay. So that's it, I believe, for this chapter. We talked about the technology, about mind control slaves and the technology used to produce mind control slaves, which is mostly EMFs. I know you're tired of hearing that word, EMFs. Remember, it's my favorite word for 2018. EMFs can be read out by EEGs. EEG stands for electrical encephalogram, measuring the brain frequencies. Just like you get an EKG for your heart, electrical, because the body is electrical as well as flesh and bones, electrical, cardio for heart, and gram, measuring it. Okay, measuring the frequencies, electricity in the heart can be measured. So yeah, that's it. I think you guys got it. That was chapter 2. Just want to see. There's the key points. I'll just show them to you one more time. Okay. And how we're going to end off in this chapter, I'll explain this briefly. We're at 45 minutes. So, okay, we're less than an hour, which is pretty good for the amount of information. I couldn't have condensed it anymore. You understand. Some stuff just has to be explained. Otherwise, you wouldn't understand it. So, and you're smart. I know you are, and you wanted to know it, and now you know it. What you do with it is up to you, but it's good to know it. Yes? Okay. So what I wanted to end off on was saying that MKULTRA was the mind control program, the original, was exposed and became even harder to do the research. So at some point they decided, because originally when they did the research, they had to have the test subjects, the guinea pigs, in the lab, or, not the lab, well, sometimes a lab, but hospitals, wherever they were doing the testing. They actually had to, they had to have the subjects there so that they could put the electrodes on their heads, to read out the EEGs, to read out the EMFs, okay? I thought I had a picture of EEGs. We'll cover that next time, but I'll show you a picture next time. Or do I have it here? No, I don't. I'll show you next time the picture of the EEG, but it's basically that thing that has all, electrodes on your scalp. And so that's what they used to have to do. But obviously, they got to the point where that was inconvenient and difficult. They wanted to make it where they could do it remotely read your EMFs from the human brain. So they started on a quest in the 70s to remotely read EMFs with EEGs. Okay, so the official research was started, and the funds were given out, lots of money, to places like, I think one the doctor quoted was Stanford University. You can look that up on your own, but that was one of them. And so next, that was it for this chapter. So next chapter, we're going to talk about a little phenomenon in mind control technology called remote neural monitoring, RNM. And that's going to blow your socks off, because you're going to want to see that one. If you found this one interesting, watch that one too, because that talks about how your actual mind can be monitored, and in real time at that. So, sorry, I keep drumming. I said I wasn't going to do that because I watched my video and then I seen myself drumming and it sounds super obnoxious on on tape. So, sorry. Yeah, so anyways, next one, chapter 4 on remote neural monitoring. We will talk in detail about the experiments that were done by the researchers and how they were able to put it all together, into mind reading capability that it is today. So, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you for your time. I know it's valuable, and so is the information in this video. So you just benefited yourself by spending this time. And I know, because I've looked at videos like this, and it takes some time to build patience. But if you really want the information, you'll sit and you'll get it. Everything that's easy is not quick, right? Right. So again, the book is called Guinea Pigs by Dr. I want to show you the cover in case you want to pick up a copy. Sorry, it is really hard to get all your paper in a row here when you're doing this. I'm trying though. I figure I need a new system. That's okay. I digress. We're working it out. You're getting the information. We're still in our time limit here. Okay. Okay. Here it is. Just for emphasis and just to give, due respect and due acknowledgement to the author. This is the picture of the book, Guinea Pigs. You notice it's a picture of a human head with the brain, and yeah, and it's by Dr. John Hall. He's actually a surgeon, so He knows some things about medical field. He knows some things. If you want to buy his book, it's $7.99 on Kindle. And no, I'm not promoting for them. I have a Kindle on my phone. It's wonderful. It is really, you would think reading a book on your phone is not that, you know, I was hesitant at first if it was going to be the same, because I like having like the hard copy in my hand. But actually, when it's on your phone, it's really easy, and you can, you know, your phone's with you everywhere. So you can, at the doctor's office or at the appointments, it's just easy to pull it out and read it. And you can flip through the pages easier, you know, with just the push of your finger or the swipe of your finger. It's pretty neat. So, and I know for the first month they give you 10 free books, and then after that it's $9.99 a month, and then you have to pay for each book that you buy. But for your first 10 books, I think if I remember correctly, they give them to you for free for signing up. So you could get that. It's $7.99 on Kindle. Otherwise, you can get a hard copy, used or new, for about $10 to $20 off of Amazon. So if you're interested, I would definitely check it out. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Oh, Mr. Hall, Dr. John Hall. If you look it up online, he actually has videos with him doing interviews and explaining his books. He wrote another one too called Satellite-Based Technology, a New Breed. Satellite-based technology. So that's a good one too. I will hopefully get to the point where I can review that, but we'll see. So yeah, we're done. Check him out though. Check him out. You won't be disappointed. Stay smart. Do your research. God loves you. Okay. And let me not forget this. Thank you for spending your time. And yeah, thank you. Stay smart. Do your research. God loves you. God loves us. And you have a good evening. Thanks for joining me. All right. Thanks. Bye.